You made a mistake? I just do not believe it. What? You made a mistake? I just do not believe it. Ooh, what's that? A missile backpack? I guess we'll all be okay if, Though to be fair, the Mandalorian corrected that oversight. Turns out a missile backpack does have its uses. I just hope they don't make the mistake of trying to use the show to fix the hot mess that the sequel trilogy ended up being. Good morning, Danny.
All right, good morning, guys. I do have Cameron here with me. We're just we're waiting on his video. Suddenly everything started getting squirrely right around the time I said, let's do this, and well, here we are. And I'm seeing some of my data shows that we're getting a little bit of drop off in our streaming rate, so we might lose video for a minute here. Let's hope not, but we're gonna go ahead and do a show. So, how you doing this morning, Cameroon?
I'm good. So just as a humorous aside, I discovered that there is some contact lens solution that you are not supposed to drip directly into your eye.
Yeah, apparently. And why is that?
Well, it turns out that there are some types that contain 3% hydrogen peroxide, and when you drip them directly into your eye, it hurts. So I'm not wearing contacts at all today. I'll be coming at you old school. Glasses.
If you ever, in fact, come at us, I suppose. So, what are we talking about this morning? Well, things have taken a turn. Um, Detroit has apparently gone ahead and certified, despite the obvious the claims of very serious, shall we say, uh,
Irregularities.
I was going to say malfeasance. Um, because the Michigan Elections Board, which has now certified the victory for Joe Biden. Let's not forget, we're talking about the election board where two Republicans said,
Mutually exclusive.
"What?" Cameron, you said something and kind of broke up there. What'd you say?
Oh, I said they're not mutually exclusive concepts.
Ah, so anyway, we're keep in mind we're talking about the elections board where the Republicans, it's two Republicans and two Democrats on the elections board for in Michigan, and the two Republicans wanted to block certification because of irregularities. Those irregularities being that in counties where hundreds of thousands, well, 160,000 people in one case, in most of those cases, mere thousands of people, voted by absentee ballot. But the records apparently show that while they have thousands of votes by absentee ballot, no one voted in person, and there are no registered voters.
So just some slight irregularities.
Yeah, it seems to me like this isn't a complex question. If you're reporting that 1,000 people voted, but you have no registered voters, all of those votes are illegitimate. That's not complicated. If you don't have any registered voters, then you also have no legitimate votes. I mean, am I am I missing something?
No, I mean it's part of why what Crowder broke on his stream was such a big deal and it's not like there's just one precinct showing zero registered
No,
voters.
it's dozens of them.
Yes, yes, and if you said it's one precinct, somebody made a mistake, I'd still be pretty freaking dubious of that. But okay, it's just one. But we've talked about before, like, you know, once is an anomaly, twice is something, but three times is a pattern. And when you've got over a dozen, well, that's a pattern. It just, and so yeah, we live in this bizarre world. If I'm just misspoken, I thought the locals, the ones that oversee Detroit, basically, they didn't want to certify on their level. They're the ones that got intimidated and then signed affidavits saying that they had been doxxed. It's my understanding that the statewide board of Michigan is what has certified. And according to Tim Pool, God bless him, that apparently one of the Republicans on that board was just like, oh, not any choice but to vote for certification. And it's like, okay, if you don't have any choice but to vote for certification, why the fuck does your job even exist? Oh, sorry, F-bomb. I was trying, but it came out. But why have the damn vote if you're not allowed to vote? It sounds like a vote at all.
Right. And that's like one of the things that we already talked about was the statement from I don't remember which official made statement, but vis-a-vis the two Republicans refusing to certify for the time that they did refuse to certify. She said, "Look, your position here is ministerial. Your job is to certify. That's the thing that you have to do." Well, if what? My job here is to certify. I do not have the option not to certify. Why does this job exist? Right? If it's not possible for that as a bulwark against obvious fraud, then why does it even exist? Why does it pretend to matter?
Yeah, and part of the problem here is all of this is just it's getting so muddy. Um, like all the stuff with Sidney Powell. Obviously, I don't want to go too deep into it because I don't think we know what to think about that yet. Because I've heard theories all over the spectrum on it. Um, uh, Everything from basically she went nuts. She's got Joe Biden derangement syndrome, just the same way so many people had Trump derangement syndrome, all the way to the other side to where calculated move. The president's legal team is focused on getting the president reelected. Sidney Powell is focused on stamping out the voter fraud, and it doesn't matter if the hammer falls on Republicans or Democrats as long as she stamps out the voter fraud. And I really don't know where to go with that because, like, she's retweeting stuff from QAnon and accusing our own governor of being on the take. Like, I, and don't get me wrong. At this point, I would believe just about anything. I just need the evidence. You know, the older I get, the smarter Alex Jones seems. It's just a fact.
It's a terrifying fact, but you're not wrong.
However, the official transition, as it were, has begun. It's kind of funny to me that, like, we literally did a show about this yesterday, and now the transition has begun.
Right. And, you know, okay, so there.
Yes. Oh.
So yeah, go ahead. What were you saying?
Oh, I thought you had something to say. You said, you know, and then I was quiet because I was.
Okay,
Buddy?
now
Yeah.
now we're just sitting here waiting on each other.
That's correct. I thought it was your turn. My bad. I can keep jawboning if it'll help.
Okay, so basically where we are now is because Michigan has certified the election results, and it looks like Georgia has also certified the election results. Now, it's a little bit touch and go in Georgia on that because the rules are different from state to state, and we already had a recount in Georgia, which was a farce, an farce. There was no audit, there was no signature verification, and like I was having this conversation with my dad yesterday about signature verification. You cannot verify the signatures on ballots. Do not have signatures on them, right? So when you're talking about signature verification, what you're trying to do is, do me a favor and mute yourself, Cameron. Please. The signature verification thing. Damn, I lost my train. Okay. And I think I lost my Cameron. But anyway, we'll see how that turns out. The signature verification thing. The thing that you're trying to prove with signature verification is not that a person who voted for Trump or a person who voted for Biden voted legitimately. Instead, what you're doing, because you can't verify one vote to another, the signatures, the voter and the vote have been divorced from one another. They've been separated from one another, never again to be joined. That's how an anonymous vote works. Right? That's how a secret ballot works. Once the voter has been separated from the ballot, you should never be able to know if that ballot was cast by what voter, and therefore you cannot ever know if an individual ballot, unless you can prove that a block of ballots which includes that individual ballot was cast in error or fraudulently or illicitly. But what you can do is you can go through, because they're required to keep them, you can go through the secret ballot envelopes from the mail-in ballots, because there's a signature on there. If you can show that those envelopes do not signature match, then what you can show is that that block of ballots, or the election in which that block of ballots was submitted, shows a significant amount of fraud. And if that fraud is substantial enough to, you're not going to prove that that fraud is substantial enough to have changed the outcome of the election. That cannot be proved conclusively because of the nature of the secret ballot. What can be shown, however, is that the margin for the victor is in question. That's what you're looking for with a full audit, with a full hand audit and signature verification. So, Cameron, you can pop back in anytime if you've caught up enough to have something to say about that.
Yeah, you never lost me. I did as you instructed. So
Okay.
I muted myself.
I got some kind of a loud notification noise. I wasn't sure if that was Skype hanging you up or what the hell happened there, because I didn't recognize it.
Right.
But anyway, go ahead.
Well, at some point, and I hate to say this, I hate to be the black pill guy. I really do. It's not my nature. But there comes a point where we have to accept the fact that we have lost this round. And we haven't just lost this round, also, we've been put at a severe disadvantage. How many of those silent Trump voters will never vote again? Ever?
That's a great. Okay, that's not a question that we addressed in the show map or in the show prep this morning. That's a great question.
Well, but it's part of the math, though.
It is.
We were talking about this morning 100%, in the show prep.
100%.
Because basically they've undermined the vote to such a degree to where how many of us are ever going to believe it ever again? And you couple that with the fact that Joe Biden he'll change foreign policy. I think Tim Pool's right. I mean, we'll end up in another shooting war. Very likely. Some kind of entanglement. Or maybe he'll just do the Obama strategy and just drone strike everything that looks at us funny. This is something our friends.
You mean like children and American citizens?
This is something that our buddies on Polytech were talking about last night. Like that whole thing with Anwar al-Awlaki. Yeah, I mean, he was a bad dude, and I'm okay with him getting a severe case of the dead, but I'm real iffy on the fact that we summarily executed him without a shred of fucking due process.
That's... Yeah.
But I mean, if they'll do it to him, and then, of course, there's all the other stuff, like the war. Like, we are in the war. And just because there's no shooting doesn't mean that the war has not begun. And the war is for your mind. And one of the things that I'm real concerned about, just as an example, how long do guys like you and I continue to exist in public spaces?
Okay, so let me give you a little bit of pushback there. The war is not for your mind. It is against your mind. The objective is not to change your mind. The objective is to eliminate it. Your mind, as a factor, is problematic to the enemy.
Oh, I see. You will be made to care.
Correct. Wow, you know what? We might have to go ahead and call it in a minute here. The the stream keeps cutting in and out. Let me know in the comments how bad is how bad is the drop rate going on, because I'm losing some of my internet connectivity over here, and I see that it's affecting the stream on Facebook, and how bad it is. If it's too bad to keep going, if it is, we'll just go ahead and call it a day, and I'll see what I can tweak over here to make sure that we get a better stream tomorrow. So Danny says she really wanted to hear my take on this last night on their show. So I'll have to go back to that episode of Polytech while I'm cleaning my garage later today. And by later today, I mean in a half an hour. Okay, Steve said we glitched here, but not dramatically. Krista said she had a hiccup about 5 or 6 minutes ago, but no problem now. Okay, looks like there might be another drop off in just a second here, so we'll go ahead and power through. It's going to be a little tougher than I'd like it to be, because now I've been distracted by technical details. Back us up, Cameron. Where were we?
Anwar al-Awlaki, and you will be made to care.
Okay, you will be made to care. That's it's Eric Erickson that says that all the time, right?
Right.
And I've been pretty lukewarm on Erickson generally. There's I could go into that, but Erickson has been vocally against the fight for the legitimate election. Or more correctly, he's been vocally against the investigation of this current election. And he keeps making all these excuses about, frankly, they're incoherent. And one of the things to understand about Erickson, and there is a point related here, he was a never Trumper to begin with. He claims to be a conservative. He claims to be a Republican. But he was a never Trumper in Trump's first election. At which time, okay, during the primary, I could understand being for somebody other than Trump as a Republican in the primary. Trump's brash. I can understand the criticisms that people had of Donald Trump in the primary when you had the opportunity, the option to vote for a different Republican for the office. Now, I was on the Trump train from day one. And to be perfectly fair, if Trump had not run in that primary, I would have been on for Ted Cruz. I like Ted Cruz. He's I wish he had a little more spine, but that's a statement that I'm making about the strongest spine in politics apart from Donald Trump today. Now, that said, Erickson, like all never Trumpers, is somebody who has done this math and said to himself, I find Donald Trump so distasteful that I'm willing to set aside all of my principles and oppose him. I, who have pretended to be a Republican all these years, who have pretended to be a Christian, who have pretended to be interested in the sanctity of life, have decided that despite Donald Trump's strong pro-life stances, despite the fact that he's the only president who's ever showed up at the March for Life, despite his clear record on defeating or on world peace, despite his clear record of success on bringing at least the notional beginnings of peace to the Middle East, in clear contrast to the rest of
he voted for Donald Trump this go round.
Yes, he did. But he's still going lily-spined on, and he complained about Donald Trump being his only opportunity there. the so he softened on his Never Trump a bit, but he's still a Never Trumper. He was still an old school Never Trumper, and now he's making arguments that we should surrender, we should capitulate, that no matter what we think is going on, and even if the election was illegitimate, I had the misfortune of being stuck in traffic with only Erickson on yesterday, so he's making arguments that continuing to fight against this illicit election is going to do more harm to the country than will a Joe Biden presidency. And I disagree. I disagree wholeheartedly.
Well, it's not going to be a Joe Biden presidency. It's going to be a commie law presidency. I mean, if it was going to be a Joe Biden presidency, he might be right. But it's not going to be a Joe Biden presidency.
It's going to be a Democrat socialist presidency. That's what we know for sure. It's going to be, commie law presidency. That's fair.
See, that was a double pun. I was proud of it.
Yeah.
And hey, solid. I have video.
Oh.
Oh.
I'm glad you said something because I wouldn't have known.
Yeah, and I'm looking a little rough this morning.
I wouldn't have known because I had inserted a photograph of you to take the place of your absent video. Because otherwise, it's just the Skype logo, and it looks really shitty.
Does this count as the hobo look? Is Lindsay in the chat?
It's like, no, Lindsay's not here, unfortunately. Actually, it looks like we're down to Steve and Krista.
Aw. Love them, though. Thanks, guys.
But, yeah, I've kind of run myself out on this one because we got off track from the topic that I really wanted to chase this morning. And now we're sitting at half an hour, and I've gone way off track. I don't know if I can bring it back around. So,
well, basically, we're transitioning into the war, and it's just interesting that World War III is trending currently because apparently somebody somewhere thinks that what's going on now is going to bring us a step closer to that.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, and Danny's still here too. Yay. Yeah, we've kind of gone off the rails now, so I'm going to go ahead and call it. I wanted to make the argument about the green light to the Biden administration. That's a green light to World War III. We're going to revisit that. We're going to come back and talk about that in more depth later. So I'll probably just go ahead and repurpose that thumbnail. It's Thanksgiving, guys. It's Thanksgiving week. Go make sure you've got your turkey out of the freezer already. If you don't have your turkey out of the freezer today, it may be too late. I recommend a salt brine, and do not try to fry that sumbitch unless it's real squishy. Be safe out there. We'll see you tomorrow morning. We haven't decided yet if we're going live Thursday morning. I don't know if we're going to take Turkey Day off or not. We'll have to have a conversation about that.
I would like to
take it off.
We don't go. No. We do it. We don't go as early as we normally go. We do what we did last Thanksgiving and last Christmas. Just pop on and talk about the things that we're grateful for.
I'm in. We'll do it.
All right.
Hey, Lucas popped in just in time to see us say bye-bye. Let's be real, though. We love you guys. Thanks for watching. I feel terrible about the technical issues and just everything that distracted us from having a great show today. We'll see you tomorrow, and hopefully... Oh, I'm glad I popped back on. Steve Rodemeyer says... WWIII Crusterfruck? You know? Steve, let's put that in the thread, and maybe that's exactly what we need to do. maybe Thursday or Friday, I'd be down for that. I may have to go get I may need another bottle of scotch. That might be
Fair.
exactly the thing. All right, gents, be safe out there, and ladies, we love you, and we'll see you soon.